These are stories where love meets betrayal. Stories that make you see life a little differently.
The rain had been falling for 3 days straight. Not the dramatic kind. Not the kind that announces itself with thunder. This rain was quiet, persistent. It soaked into everything, including me. I noticed it the first night I couldn't sleep. The sound against the window wasn't comforting. It felt like counting time, second after second, mistake after mistake. He lay beside me, breathing evenly, peaceful, unaware, or pretending to be. I stared at the ceiling and wondered when exactly I had stopped feeling safe next to him. It wasn't sudden. There was no single moment, no dramatic discovery, just a slow accumulation of small things, missed glances, delayed replies, a phone turned face down. People think betrayal begins with another body. They're wrong. It begins with absence. The morning light came gray and wet. Rain streaked down the glass like unfinished sentences. He kissed my forehead before leaving, the same way he always did. Tender, familiar, and completely empty. "I'll be late tonight," he said casually. Work. It was always work. I nodded. I had learned not to ask questions that wouldn't be answered honestly. The apartment felt larger after he left, too quiet. The rain filled the silence like a third presence. I made coffee and sat by the window. Across the street, people hurried under umbrellas, lives moving forward while mine felt suspended. I wasn't jealous, not yet. I was something worse, aware. I started noticing patterns, how he smiled at messages he never shared, how his voice softened during calls he took in another room, how my name sounded different when he said it, like a habit, not a feeling. That afternoon, I found the receipt, not hidden, just forgotten. A small cafe, 2 coffees, 2 desserts, a place he had never taken me. I stared at the paper for a long time. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. That scared me more than anything. The rain grew heavier as evening approached. By the time he returned, the city looked submerged. "You're soaked," I said. It sounded normal, too normal. He smiled. That smile again, the one that never reached his eyes. "Yeah," he laughed lightly, "the weather's awful." We ate dinner together, talked about nothing, laughed at the right moments. This was the cruelest part of betrayal, how ordinary it looks. Later, when he showered, I stood in the hallway, listening to the water run. The sound reminded me of rain, endless, unavoidable. I didn't check his phone. Not yet. I didn't want confirmation. I wanted understanding. When he lay down beside me again, he turned away. A small movement, barely noticeable, but I noticed. The rain continued outside, steady, relentless. And in that sound, I understood something I wasn't ready to admit yet. I was already alone. The rain didn't stop that night. It tapped against the window with a patience that felt deliberate, as if it knew something I was still trying to deny. I woke before dawn. The space beside me was empty. At first, I thought he was in the bathroom. Then I heard his voice, low, careful, from the kitchen. "I can't talk long," he whispered. I stayed still, didn't move, didn't breathe loudly. There are moments when the body knows before the mind catches up. This was one of them. "I told you," he continued. "Not now, she's here." A pause, then softer, almost tender. "Yes, I miss you too." The words slid into me quietly. No explosion, no dramatic collapse, just a slow sinking realization. I closed my eyes. The rain outside grew heavier. When he returned to the bedroom, he didn't notice I was awake. He lay down carefully, as if trying not to disturb the lie he had just carried back with him. I turned toward the wall. My reflection stared back at me in the dark glass. Strange how betrayal changes your face before you change your life. Morning came without relief. Gray light, wet streets. Another day pretending nothing had happened. At breakfast, he kissed my cheek, too quickly, like a task completed. "I have a meeting," he said. Of course he did. I watched him leave again, umbrella in hand, shoulders relaxed. He looked free. I felt anchored. That afternoon, I did something I never thought I would do. I followed him. Not like in movies, no racing heart, no dramatic chase, just distance. 3 people between us on the sidewalk, rain masking my footsteps. He didn't go to work. He went to the cafe, the same one on the receipt. I stood across the street, rain dripping from my hair, coat heavy with water. Through the window, I saw her. She wasn't what I expected. She wasn't younger, wasn't prettier, wasn't careless or loud. She looked familiar. They laughed, leaned toward each other, shared something invisible and private. I waited for anger. It didn't come. What came instead was something colder. Recognition. I knew her. Not well, but enough. She worked in the same building as him. I had seen her once at a company event. She had shaken my hand, smiled politely. She knew I existed. That was the moment everything changed. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was a choice. The rain blurred the scene as I turned away. I didn't confront them, didn't scream, didn't cry. I went home. I sat on the floor, back against the door, shoes still on. The apartment smelled like damp fabric and old promises. When he returned that evening, I was calm, too calm. "How was your meeting?" I asked. He hesitated, just for a second, but I saw it. "Long," he said. I nodded. The rain continued its steady rhythm outside, and for the first time, I didn't hear sadness in it. I heard counting. Every lie, every omission, every moment he had stepped away from me while standing right beside me. That night, when he reached for me in bed, I didn't pull away. I let him touch the woman he thought I still was. And in the dark, listening to the rain, I made a decision he would never see coming. The rain changed that night. It wasn't loud anymore. It wasn't patient. It felt deliberate, precise, like it knew exactly where to fall. I didn't sleep. I watched the ceiling until the dark thinned into morning. Beside me, he slept deeply, peacefully. I wondered how someone could rest so well while living inside a lie. By the time he woke up, I had already made coffee, already showered, already decided who I was going to be. "You're up early," he said, surprised. I smiled, not warmly, not coldly, just accurately. "I didn't feel like sleeping," I replied. We sat across from each other at the table. Rain traced slow paths down the window behind him. For the first time, I looked at him without nostalgia. "I know," I said. He froze. "I know about her." Silence didn't explode. It collapsed inward. He tried to speak. Stopped. Tried again. "It's not what you think," he said. I tilted my head slightly. "It's exactly what I think." He reached for explanations like lifelines. Loneliness, confusion, mistakes. I let him talk, not because I needed answers, but because I wanted to hear how carefully he would arrange his excuses. When he finished, the rain outside paused briefly, a break between sentences. "She knows about me," I said, calmly. His face changed. Not guilt, fear. "I saw you," I continued. "The cafe, the receipt you forgot. The way she smiled like I wasn't real." He stood up, walked away from the table, back again. "I never meant for it to go this far," he whispered. I stood too. "But it did," I said. I didn't cry, not then. I packed slowly, deliberately, every movement measured. He followed me from room to room, begging, apologizing, unraveling. "You're overreacting," he said at one point. That was the moment something in me finally broke. I laughed, once, short. "You lied to me for months," I said. "You shared a life with someone else, and you think I'm reacting too much?" The rain outside returned, harder now. I stopped at the door, turned back to him. "You didn't destroy me," I said, "but you don't get to keep the version of me who believed in you." I left without slamming the door, without drama. Outside, the rain soaked me instantly. Cold, unforgiving. I walked until my legs hurt, until my thoughts stopped circling. Weeks passed, then months. I heard things. They didn't last. They never do. Sometimes I still think about that night, not with longing, not with regret, but with clarity. Betrayal doesn't always end with healing. Sometimes it ends with knowledge, and that knowledge changes everything. The rain still falls. It always will. But now, when I hear it, I don't feel loss. I feel awake.
Sometimes pain doesn't come from enemies, but from the ones we trusted the most. Maybe that's how life teaches us to see the truth. Could you forgive such a betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. More stories are coming, stories that will touch your heart.